Hi, I'm Melissa with A Creative Journey with Melissa. Today I'm going to show you some Chameleon pens and how you can get various colors throughout with these pens. The pens that I have the complete set, the 22 pen complete set. Unfortunately, which is actually fortunately and unfortunately, I am out of stock. I sold out. So I hope to be getting them in this week. They're on order, so I'm hoping to get them in. If you are interested in a set, just send me a little message and let me know so I can put one on hold for you. At any rate, what I wanted to show you is how you can get various colors. I love the Chameleon pens. I also have copic markers, which I am very, very fond of as well. I use these for things that are a little bit less detailed, and I use my copic markers for things that I really want to get a little bit more rich colors and things like that, and don't have to wait for the blending solution, which you'll see in a second. Okay, so what I did here, and this would be a really good way for you to start off with your Chameleon markers or pens. I call them both actually. What I do is I took the detail pen here, and that comes with the 22 marker set, and I wrote a 5, 10, 15, and 20, and that's going to be for seconds. I want to show you the difference between using the blending solution for 5 seconds versus 20 seconds. And then down here I'm going to show you without it at all. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I don't need the detail pen anymore, I'll put that aside. So we're going to start with the Y03. I'm going to use the bullet nib here instead of using the brush that I usually use, just so you can see the detail and how it works. So this is what the color looks like here. Okay, and that's the Y03. Here, I'll even write it, Y03. Okay, and then I'm going to do the YG3. So we'll do YG3. Okay, and then we're going to color this here. Okay, and that's without any blending solution again. And then we're going to do the BL3. And again, each of these pens have different amounts of pigment to them, obviously depending on the color. So like in this one, I'm going to show you what it looks like for 15 seconds to be putting the blending solution. It'll probably be clear. Whereas the red one, if you put it on for 20 seconds, it probably will be lighter, but it may have taken a little bit longer. So that's why I thought I would use the red one and show you what it looks like after having the blending solution on for 20 seconds. So there is a method to my madness in the colors that I chose and what amounts of time I chose for them. Okay, so all these here are without any blending solution, and you can have this color whether you use the bullet nib or you use the brush nib. Either one, you'll get the same color. The color is the same throughout. The only difference with this is that when you use the cartridge here, which has the blending solution inside this chamber, that is when you will get the blending solution. So the blending solution is applied when you take off the cap and you place this in here, and you'll see here where when I place it together they touch. So I'm going to hold this for 20 seconds here. Okay, and then in the meantime, I wanted to show you that this really is a great way to get different variances of color. You can get like a variegated look, whether you're using like red or green or blue or any of the colors. Okay, and I think I'm right about 20 here. So I'm going to flip this around here, and I'm going to show you what it looks like with 20 seconds of the blending solution on it. And you can see how it just gradually gets darker and darker. And I'm going to keep going so you can see how much comes out of the red. And we're right about the correct color of what it is normally. Okay, so you can see that. I recommend you playing with them because sometimes some people have a harder push to them. Sometimes they'll have a lighter push to them or touch to them. So it really is depending on what type of, how you use your markers and how they actually work for you. I would suggest that you play with them and do a card like this. It's not always going to be exact, but if you do try to count, you'll have a pretty good idea as to what the color will be when what it's going to look like. Okay? So now we're going to start with the blue, which is the BL3. We've taken the nib cap off there. We're going to put that aside. And then here we're going to do the 15 seconds, okay? And again, they're showing like this, okay? So I'm going to leave that up there. In the meantime, we're going to be getting the green ready. And I really think this is a great color for sky. I think it's fantastic, and I think it's great if you color over itself. It will also show a darker color because you're basically adding color to color. I think we're at about 15 seconds. I'm going to take that off. Okay. And so we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to start here. See how clear it is? And we're going to continue over here. Now it may sound like it's dry, but it is not. And I'm going to keep continuing so you can really see the color that's coming out of it. Now, as I said, you can really see how clear it is at the beginning. Okay? See here? It has a very, very slight amount of pigment, if any at all. Okay? And then you can see how the more you use it, it basically wears off. Like I use the example like white. Like if you add white to something, it makes it lighter, and then the more pigment comes through, the more you'll see it. So you have this here, and that's how we ended up. And that's about the same color as that. So I thought that'd be a good example. Okay? So we're going to put the blue aside. Now we're going to do the green. The green is going to be for 10 seconds. Same thing as before. We're just going to pop it on and make sure it goes together and it's staying. Okay, so we're going to do that for 10 seconds. And again, depending on how bright or dark or pigmented the color is going to depend on how it starts to show up. Like this doesn't have much pigment in the color, whereas obviously red does. We're about 10 seconds here. Now see how light it is? See how light the tip is? I don't know if you can see that very well. Okay, so let's see how this one starts out, okay? As you can see, it didn't last very long. It is lighter, but it didn't last very long as far as the lightness goes because of the small amount of blending solution that is in there. Okay? So that's that one. Close that up. And then we're going to do the orange. I'm going to put the red one away too. Okay, the orange we're going to do really fast. That's only going to be a 5-second difference. And the reason why I'm doing it for a short amount of time is so that you can see that if you know the difference between having it for a really long time and how light you can get your colors, or just doing it a short amount of time versus no time at all. So this is going to just be for 5 seconds. And I think we're right about there. So we're going to remove that. Okay, and then we're going to just color. So this is how it starts. And as you can see, it barely had any color at all. Change. Okay, so right here is really about where it changed, and that was about it. So I think it's really a neat thing to do. You can get some great different colors, some great different ideas on what you can do with this. This would be great for cloud, or for a cloud, for some water, for a great sky, whatever you thought. Because I know sometimes like people like to put a little bit of blue in their clouds, sometimes a little bit of gray, things like that, excuse me. And sometimes you can even, I have the hiccups I think, sometimes you can even do some really cool harvest colors like hay and things like that. Sometimes it's a little darker, sometimes it's a little lighter depending on the shading. So I think this will give you a good idea as to how you should practice with your Chameleon markers, and how sometimes these markers really can give you quite a number of different shades, different colors, and different ideas on all your different projects that you may want to use them for. So thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you have a fantastic day, and thank you for coming along with us on A Creative Journey with Melissa. Have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye-bye.